excited to kick us off here with our session on what is the Sustainability Council up to. I'm Chad King, I'm the Executive Director for Sustainability at the university, and it's my pleasure to introduce Anna Scher, the Chair of the Sustainability Council. Anna is a full professor in biological sciences, where she's been faculty since 2003. She received her PhD from the University of New Mexico, where she taught botany as a visiting lecturer as well. And as a postdoc researcher, Dr. Scher was awarded a Fulbright postdoc research fellowship to conduct research on plant interactions in Israel at Ben Gurion University's Mitrani Department of Desert Ecology. And she also studied the ecology of an invasive grass at the University of Colorado at Davis. So I will turn it over to Anna, who will introduce other speakers, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Chad. It's my pleasure to currently be serving as the chair of the Sustainability Council, and also to introduce my vice chair, Seamus, who will be telling us about the history of the Sustainability Council, and then I'll, at the end, tell you how to get involved. Seamus is a senior with a double major in international studies with a focus in development and health, and geography, where he has a focus in GIS. So with that, I'll turn it over to Seamus.
Thank you for the introduction, Anna, and thank you to the Center for Sustainability for hosting us with the conference, and thank you to all of you for tuning in today. I will be talking a little bit about sustainability at DU and kind of going over this overarching timeline, which you can see now. I think we hear a lot about sustainability and a lot of the work that is being done at the university, but I think this gives a little bit of context to that work, a little bit, kind of brings into focus where we've been and where we're headed. So you can see with this overview, this presentation is going to span from the 1970s to today. And so one thing that I kind of want to point out, especially while you can see this, the kind of grand scheme of it, the large scale view, is that these green bubbles you can see early on in the presentation are attributed to work and action items that students have kind of been behind, environmental student organizations and different projects and stuff that have been started and brought to the attention of the university by students. And then if you can see, as you follow the years towards the more present time, we can see how there's been a transition and less of those green circles, which were student action, to actions and different projects that were then driven by DU facilities and administration. DU facilities and administration taking resources and funding and putting them towards those projects. And so I think it's cool to see the transition as students brought sustainability and green action and environmental action to the university from the beginning, and how that has been built upon how DU facilities and administration have recognized that and kind of followed in footsteps and were able to put some value to some of those actions. So as I get going, please do speak up if you have any questions. I'll be kind of moving through a lot of this pretty quickly, and I'll be speaking a lot to my experience, as I've spent the last 4 years involved in sustainability at DU. So if there's something that I brush over, a different organization that you might be able to speak to or want to add something, so please do speak up and stop us if you have any questions. Anna, Chad, or myself should be able to answer those. So to get started, we'll start here in the 1970s. As I mentioned, we see these two student-driven action items. Students begin recycling, and the first environmental student org was founded in 1970. It's pretty cool to see how, just to kind of give a little bit of context to how students really began and brought sustainability, the conversation of sustainability, to the university. Something now that we take so much granted for is recycling, at the city level, but also how it's incorporated into DU as an institution. And it's cool to see how that started and began by student action and student organizing. We see a little bit of a lull from the 1970s to the early 2000s, but then we see things start to pick up again. The first thing here that I want to talk about is the law building getting a LEED Gold rating. So to give a little context to that, LEED stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And so that is a rating system that you can apply for when you're building a new building or when you're renovating an old building to kind of get a score in energy efficiency. And so what was really cool about this is this was the first LEED Gold rated building in the state of Colorado. So here we see the University of Denver kind of setting this precedent for other institutions and other businesses around the state to follow. So it's kind of cool to see DU being the front of that. The ESLLC is started in 2002, and in 2006, USG passed a student green fee. I want to harp a little bit on that because that was the first time students in the history of the University of Denver voted as a 2/3 majority to increase fees. Then this was essentially to pay for carbon offsets for Sturm and Driscoll, but this evolved later to become the Suscom Green Fund, which I'll speak to a little bit later in the in the presentation. But I think this is really powerful in showing that a lot of times, I mean, speaking to my experience as a student, you get that dreadful email that tuition and fees are going up next year. But I think that oftentimes comes from the top down. And I think this coming from the bottom up, right? Students recognized sustainability and said this is something that's important and something that should be included within our institution. And passing that from the ground up, I think is pretty cool. That's a $15 fee that we all pay and that goes into this fund, which I'll speak a little bit more to as I progress through this presentation. Here is a picture of the DU Bridge Community Garden. In 2008, the Bridge Community Garden was built and founded. It originally was housed over by towers on the north end of campus near the light rail. And I want to just touch on this because this garden is an incredible opportunity for students and community members to be able to come together around food and you know, education around growing your own food. I've had a plot at the garden for 2 years now, and it's just been such a cool way to connect with a community of people around gardening and growing your own food, but also reconnect a little bit with food in a way that I've been disconnected from it. You know, I mean, I can't grow all of my food in my little plot, but I can grow peppers and strawberries and different things. And it's really fun to be able to put in the work and see those things grow and see kind of reconnect with that process of where our food comes from. And then also be able to share that with the community once you harvest is awesome. So I think that's a great resource and opportunity that we should all be taking advantage of. Moving into 2007 and 2008, I just touched on in 2008, the Bridge Community Garden was built. But to backtrack a little bit, in 2007, the ACU PCC carbon neutrality goal was set by the university. So in 2007, the DU made a commitment to carbon neutrality. And so as a result of that commitment, then in 2008, the Sustainability Council is formed and the first sustainability plan is drafted. So Anna and I are speaking to you today from the Sustainability Council as the chair and vice chair, and we will explain a little bit more about how the council operates, the work that we're doing, and different ways that you can get involved with that towards the end of the presentation. So hold on to any questions that you have with that now. Moving forward, in 2008, the first energy engineer is hired. The Energy Revolving Fund is established. This is a pretty cool way for funds that have been put towards, I'll use the example of the Anderson Academic Commons. We exchanged all of the lighting in the Anderson Academic Commons for more energy efficient light bulbs, right? And so that inevitably saves energy, but it also saves the university money. And so that saved money then, instead of going into different avenues, different streams, it kind of gets revolved into that energy fund. And then so we can expand and do more energy efficiency work across campus. So that's a pretty cool fund and thing that was established in 2008. And then at the end of 2008, B-Cycle is launched on campus, and then the USG Sustainability Committee forms. This is in undergraduate student government, and the green fee, which I just spoke to as we voted 2/3 majority to fund, this is kind of the oversight body for that fund. And so people, individuals and different organizations now at DU have that as an opportunity. You can apply for funding through the Sustainability Committee to access those green funds and put that money towards different sustainability initiatives throughout campus. Moving into 2009 and 2010, Housing and Residential Education created a sustainability position in 2009. In 2010, the university created a sustainability budget. And so essentially this created allocations which led to the creation of the Center for Sustainability, which I'll be touching upon in the next couple of slides. And yeah, so I'll leave it at that until I'll get to that in a second here. The first Sustainability Summit is held in 2010. This was created by 2 students in their first year. And this is a precursor to the conference that is being held now. I think it's pretty cool to note how it was created and founded by 2 students, and to show the longevity of the impact that has, and how we can still be here today speaking about sustainability and talking about these initiatives and you know, in a way of sharing knowledge. And I think it's pretty powerful that students were the ones that founded that, and to see what it has grown into. Permaculture Garden is established in 2010, and DU received a STARS Gold rating. So I'll explain a little bit about ASHE STARS. The gold rating is the second highest. It goes from bronze, silver, gold, and then platinum. So in 2010, ASHE STARS was established. It was the pilot year for the program. But it is a sustainability tracking, assessment, and rating system that universities use to measure sustainability. And so we, as the council, are in charge of collecting all of that data and that information, as the rating system accounts for curriculum, anything from curriculum to facilities and different ways that we're implementing sustainability on campus. And so then they give us a rating, and we received a gold rating in 2010. We're currently in the process of applying for our rating for 2020. And so anybody that's in the audience that's a liaison or working with the council in a role that's collecting data for us, please continue on with that process, as we are hoping to get that data collected by our winter meeting, which we'll also speak to at the end of the presentation, but we're hoping to get that submitted and continue on with that rating system. Additionally, in 2010, the sustainability minor began. And that's a really cool program. That is another way that the university, on the curriculum level, we've seen a lot of stuff with DU facilities and admin and a lot of student work, but then from the curriculum standpoint, and sustainability minor is a great opportunity. It's interdisciplinary. You can be able to learn about sustainability in different contexts. And then I think it's a really valuable tool to be able to apply to your main area of study. Here, this is a picture of a couple of us folks from the Center for Sustainability. This kind of marks the next period in history for the University of Denver and for sustainability, as it was founded in 2011. It just kind of, we see a lot of individual student organizing and individual student work leading up to this. And then the center kind of comes, and it is a great opportunity for students and to be able to come together all under one organization, who all share this passion for sustainability and have different ideas and different backgrounds, you know, different experiences. And we can all come together and do work and get a valuable experience as well, working experience in applying sustainability initiatives on campus. So it's a really cool structure for the continuation of sustainability to be more and more incorporated at the University of Denver. Shout out to that too. The center has a new office now in the community commons. So if you're around and able to go check it out, make sure to pop in and say hello. But that's right there in 2012, what I was speaking to for the Center for Sustainability. To backtrack to 2011, students launched composting, a cool effort in 2011 by those students. In 2012, after the center was founded, the first full-time sustainability staff was hired. I believe that's Chad King, and Chad King is with us today and can speak a little bit more to that if he would like. But he's been, the director of sustainability, working with the Sustainability Council and the Center for Sustainability and all things sustainable at the University of Denver. He's been a big driving force with all things sustainable. And then we have another student action in 2012, TBTT, that stands for Take Back the Tap. And this eliminate bottled water and plastic use on campus. So we see all those drinking fountains across campus now that have the opportunity where you can take your own water bottle and fill that up. So cool to see that work spurred by student engagement and to see that come to fruition across campus. Bike Friendly University, we got a bronze rating that is kind of associated with the fact that we live in Colorado, which is a bike friendly state, and the city of Denver is a bike friendly city. And so in that bronze rating, we drove a lot of the new bike crossings, especially the one across Evans that I'm sure all of us have utilized in the past years. I moved to this picture. So this is a picture, and I want to highlight the compost here, which I just spoke to. In 2011, the compost initiatives were started by students. You can see the SUSCOM logo here down below, just reinforcing that funding body. I think a lot of that initial compost work was funded through SUSCOM, and just reinforcing how that is an opportunity for students and organizations with ideas and things, ways that they want to change. It's a great funding body for that. But in 2013, compost was then funded by facilities. So just to call more attention to how in 2011 students said, okay, composting is something important, we need to be implementing this on campus. And then to see 2 years later, facilities agreeing, saying, yeah, you're right. And then them taking their funding and putting that towards compost infrastructure throughout campus. So yeah, you see that in 2013, compost funding being funded by facilities. We see Students for Sustainable Foods founded. The campus bike chair is founded. The DU bike shop opens. That is the Nagel bike shop. It's still around today. And it's a great place where you can take your bike if you have anything wrong with your bike. They're super helpful, super friendly, and super affordable for you to be able to get it fixed and get you back out on the streets. Zero Waste Hockey launched in 2013, started by students, and now something that is intrinsic with the Center for Sustainability. The Green Office program launched, and the Eco-Conscious program with GSSW grad students also launched in 2013. Here's another picture of the community garden, the Bridge Community Garden, just continuing to harp on this. This is in 2014, the community garden was moved from where it initially was over near Towers to its home now next to the Betcher complex, just west of the Betcher complex, near the south end of campus. And just to continue on harping on just the incredible opportunity to be able to get involved with food and growing your own food. You can contact Julie Morris to get more involved and to start gardening. Additionally, in 2014, I want to touch on the 2014 to 2017 sustainability plan, which you can see right here in this yellow circle. This is a first of many 3-year plans that the Sustainability Council and the University of Denver put forth that create stepping stones towards carbon neutrality goals. Additionally, that year, DU signed on to the Real Food Challenge. This is cool because it's 20% of local or sustainably sourced food through DU dining through Sodexo must, or rather 20% of local or sustainable. The food that DU dining and Sodexo provides through DU dining must be 20% locally or sustainably sourced by 2020. And so that was a bit of an audacious goal, but in 2019, we actually reached that. And I think it's a great stepping stone into the future, into implementing more. Now we've reached 20%. Let's shoot for higher. Then towards the end of 2014, two student organizations, the Divest DU and the Food Recovery Network, formed. I'll be able to speak a little bit more on behalf of Divest DU just because I've been involved with that since my freshman year. But I believe the Food Recovery Network is this cool program that then there's a lot of food waste, uneaten food that comes out of the dining halls. And where the Food Recovery Network comes in is they then collect that food and then provide that to outside organizations that can then provide that to people who may be food insecure. So instead of all of that, the food waste being going uneaten in the dining halls, that's then being used and other people are able to eat that food. Divest EU is a student organization with the main goal of trying to convince the University of Denver Board of Trustees to divest the university's endowment from fossil fuel interest. And we'll touch on that a little bit more as we move forward and see how that evolved throughout the years. This is a picture just of to highlight Sodexo. In 2015, Sodexo hired a sustainability coordinator. This is a big step because food is a huge footprint for the University of Denver when we're speaking in relation to sustainability. And I think this just, again, shows facilities and administration putting their money where their mouth is and building a structure for themselves and for the university where sustainability is intrinsic in operations, right? I think that is kind of spurred from this creation of the sustainability coordinator position, allocating resources to talking and working on projects of sustainability as it relates to food. Additionally, in 2015, DU Solar Student Group launched. This pushed for solar in 2015. And what's cool is, if you've been around the last couple of years, we saw those solar panels being put on buildings, and we realized this in 2020. So it's cool to see, give a little bit of insight into the process here as it started in 2015 by student motivated action. The Net Impact undergrad chapter launched, the first Sodexo Sustainability Coordinator, which I just spoke to. REPS program launched. That's through the Center for Sustainability. And that's a great program that goes out to student homes and provides weather stripping, changing out light bulbs, and putting in low flow fixtures to reduce the energy footprint of students and to save them money and save electricity. Additionally, here I want to talk about the DU hosted the first Sustainable Denver Summit, and also sustainability integrated into the Impact 2025 plan. Here's a picture. This is Divest DU. And so in 2016, Divest DU demanded Board of Trustees divestment. This just shows the number of people that organized around this and people that got out. I think it just draws a little bit more tangible power to the power that students do have in driving change at the university. In 2016, DU received a STARS Silver certification. I spoke to this in 2010, we received a gold. So we've slipped a little bit. And so that's also why we are focusing so much on reporting this year with the council, and we need to get those numbers in so we can get back to gold and hopefully reach our goal of platinum by 2025. Additionally, here we have the Transportation Master Plan, and a part of that is the Multi-Station Mobility Plan, and that has funded transportation pilots across campus, including OFO and Chariot, which we've all become familiar with. In 2017, the Board of Trustees, so in 2016, as we mentioned, Divest EU called for divestment of our endowment from fossil fuel interests. The Board of Trustees released their ends and means, ultimately saying no, but there was a lot of good stuff that came from that as well. And I can speak more to Divest EU if anyone would like to learn more about that, just reach out to me. But then that kind of spurred a lot of different action. So we have the second full-time sustainability staff hired, and then the center launched the internship program, which I spoke to back when the center was founded, the opportunity that provides to students in getting involved with sustainability and giving them a structure. And then as well as a response to that Board of Trustees, we have a new green fund structure. Council defines new commitments and values, and the 25 by 25 goals are defined. Quickly touching on this is a picture of the DU food pantry. It opened in 2018 and operates under the Center for Sustainability, and it is just a great resource for community members to be able to access food, especially during the pandemic. You know, I think food access and food insecurity is something that often gets brushed over on the university level, and I think knowing that this exists, there's great work being done here in providing this resource to the community. Additionally, in 2018, the first Joint Sustainability and Diversity Summit was held. This no longer occurs as a joint effort, but the Diversity Summit is underway as we speak and goes through March 4th. So be sure to check that out. And then additionally, we have Campus Shuttle launching, the OFO Dockless Bike Share Pilot, and Car2Go Car Share program launched. And these are all part of that transportation master plan. Here's a picture of the Chariot. In 2019, the DU Chariot Shuttle program was launched. This is subsidized for students, faculty, and staff, and it works to discourage people to not drive and utilize light rail and other alternative modes of transportation. Additionally, in 2019, the solar project was launched, and then the chilled water study was launched, and these are all components of the energy master plan moving towards that carbon neutrality goal that we spoke to before. And then here is a quick video on solar panels. It's just 30 seconds, so I'll play that. So as you can see, that in 2019, the solar project was launched back to 2015 when students first started calling for solar. We see, as the video mentioned, 7 to 8% of energy now at the University of Denver is coming from those solar panels, which is exciting. Here we go into project completion and new studies in 2020. That solar project was completed. The Burwell Achievement Center was completed, steam to hot water study, campus lighting study, and sustainability that is then included into the Board of Trustees agenda. And these are all continued ways towards that goal of carbon neutrality. To finish that in 2020, the council, a new council charter is approved. And so now I'll hand it back over to Anna to speak a little bit on behalf of the council, Sustainability Council, the work we're doing, that charter, and ways that you can get involved with us.
Thank you, Seamus. Awesome job on that. So in happier times, we could all meet in person, but we are continuing to meet in Zoom. Let's look at the next slide. So you can see what the Sustainability Council does in relation to the other branches. So if we click, we see that the Center for Sustainability, so click forward, is the one that is engaging students and coordinating efforts across campus, including doing this conference. Click. Whereas the Sustainability Council, so we work directly with them to do the strategic planning and reporting, and we are committee based. I'll come back to that in a moment. And we report directly with the executive committee, which is the provost and the CFO, where actual decisions can be made about university policies and making priorities and so forth. So moving on, anybody can be on the Sustainability Council. We're a very flat organization, and you too can get involved. We have lots of folks who just show up, but we also have formal representation from different relevant offices on campus. Obviously, it's important that facilities, parking, housing, et cetera, are in communication around these sustainability initiatives. Oh, go back, we haven't talked about.
Sorry.
The roles of the Sustainability Council are to manage the Green Fund, as Seamus said, and the ASHE STARS reporting. Please do get those in if you're responsible for one. And as I mentioned, developing the sustainability plans and policies. So the work gets done at the committee level. These committees meet monthly, then the council meets quarterly. So if you are interested in any of these committees, please email me, click and that'll pop up. If you click forward, there we go. And I will connect you with the lead of the committee. Next slide. So our next meeting, again, it's open for all, is March 11th. We meet from noon to 1:30. Put May 6th on your calendar as well. If you communicate with me your interest, I will put you on our Microsoft team and you can see all of the projects that are going on and our meeting minutes and so forth. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and we have 2 minutes to answer a question. If anybody has one, we'd love to hear it. Well, thank you very much. We have, thanks for the feedback, guys. We appreciate it. There are still a few more presentations for the conference, so do stick around, and thank you to Emily for all of her hard work in making this happen.
Thank you, Seamus and Anna, so much for that fantastic presentation, and we hope to see you this afternoon. Have a wonderful Friday, everyone.